What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. We're going to talk about another dungeon today for the new Mythic Plus rotation, the new season that's going to be happening in the War Within. This is a brand new dungeon we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do an entire run through of all the boss fights and the trash, what to look out for, all the mechanics, so buckle up for that, okay? This is the Stonevault, and it is a really cool dungeon. It might be my favorite of the new dungeons so far. The Dawnbreaker is also really fun, but this one's really great. And in terms of pathing, really quickly, there's not a lot to worry about in terms of pathing. You start at the top right here, and you're going to work your way down to the middle. You have your first boss fight in the middle, and then you get to choose to either go right or left. You can go down here and fight this boss. You can go down here and fight this boss. You have to kill them all. So you just get to choose kind of where you want to put your bloodlust. That's the main thing. I think you should bloodlust the first boss, and then you're gonna like do this boss potentially, and you don't get to bloodlust, and then you can choose either if you want to bloodlust this guy or bloodlust the final boss. So it's up to you. But the pathing in here is very simple. It's very linear, very straightforward. There's nothing special about it. The cool thing is that there's these little minecart tracks, and after you kill a boss, you can enter the minecart track, and it will take you back to the central chamber, which is really nice. So there aren't any like graveyard spots to get, like in Mists of Tyrannos or something. You just simply kill a boss, take a minecart, go back to the beginning, and that's it, okay? So it's a really good dungeon. It's quite a challenge as well. I think the boss fights in this dungeon are some of the most difficult boss fights like in any of the Mythic Plus dungeons. Like, it is really, really hard. I am trying a Druid of the Claw Feral build in here, and I just want to be really clear that this is just something I was experimenting with. I was testing out the feral buffs that had come to the Druid of the Claw build. I'm not a fan of the Druid of the Claw build personally at all, but it did get buffs, so I wanted to try it. Just remember too, it's a +4 key, so the scaling is there, but like if you've been watching other people do videos and they're doing like a +10 key, then their gear is scaled higher than mine is right now. I just want to do a really big disclaimer, because I'm honestly, people in every one of my videos, somebody's like, dude, your damage is like terrible. It's like, man, I'm experimenting with the build. It's the beta. This is a +4. It's not a +10. The scaling's lower. It's all going to be lower. I was just kind of checking it out. So just bear that in mind. Okay. One important thing, even in the opening trash packs and just in general in this fight, is that you're going to need a curse dispel. You can see I have this debuff on me right now. This is a curse. Actually, 3 of us have them right now. You really are going to need classes that have curse dispels. I think Shaman is going to be a premium class to bring into a Stonevault. Just as a disclaimer, I'm obviously a Shaman, merchant, but it is really, really good to have that curse dispel. A couple of other curses exist as well, but anyway, throughout the whole dungeon, there's going to be curses. These mobs here, I would highly recommend you pull these packs one at a time. This big Goliath guy does a big slam. This guy does an arcing void cast. It doesn't really matter. The Howling Fear is what you're worried about. And if you pull both of these packs at the same time, you're going to have 2 Howling Fears that you have to deal with. That is very frustrating. And you have the Ground Pound, which does a lot of damage and puts this stacking little Earthquake debuff on you. If you had 2 Ground Pounds going off one after the other, the damage would just be really high and you'd be in a lot of danger. So definitely you could pull 2 of these together, but I would recommend doing one at a time. Then you're going to get the last 2 golems together. You're going to fight them together before you get to the boss fight. They're going to die. And then we have EDNA. This is the first boss. EDNA is awesome. This is a really good boss fight. This was one of the hardest boss fights ever when I first started doing beta testing. Like, we did not understand what was going on in this fight, and we were dying repeatedly. So let me explain it. She does volatile spikes. She puts these little earth spikes in the ground. You're going to get rid of these spikes by these arrows. You can do it with like an immunity or something. If you just run into one of these spikes without any defensive, you're going to die, okay? The arrows, they'll shoot like a laser, a fire beam. That fire beam is going to go through those rocks and it will get rid of them. Now, when you do that, you put a debuff on everybody. You can see we have 3 stacks of this fire debuff. That is because we got rid of 3 of those pillars at the same time. Now, you have to be very, very careful doing that. If you get rid of 3 or 4 pillars at the same time on a higher key level, everybody will just die to this dot. It doesn't look like it's doing a lot of damage to us right now, but I promise you, you'll die. The tank also gets a dispellable debuff on them. That's this little earthquake looking thing. You need to dispel the tank before they get hit with the tank slam, okay? And if you do that, they will get a pretty big shield that prevents them from taking a lot. So this is seismic slam. This is the tank slam. And the healer has now dispelled the tank, and he's going to have this little shield thing on him right before it goes off, and then he's protected. If you kind of mistime this dispel, then you're in really, really big trouble. Actually, maybe Earth Shatter is the... I think Earth Shatter is actually tank mechanic, so maybe they're doing it wrong. Yeah, I think Seismic Smash is the AoE. This is the tank smash, I think, right here. So the healer should dispel the tank right now. Sorry, guys. Sorry about the miscommunication there. And then he would take less damage from the tank smash. So just bear that in mind. There's kind of a timing thing you got to work on there. The healer wasn't doing it right, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter on a +4. On a higher key, it's really going to matter. That's the whole fight. Spikes come out. The beams are going to hit the spikes. You need to stagger how many of the spikes you're getting rid of at a time. Be very, very careful about that. Otherwise, your team could just straight up die. There's a lot of damage on this fight, in the higher keys especially. So that's EDNA. Now, once you're done, as I said, you have a choice. What do you want to do? You could go left, you can go right, you can go whichever direction you want to go. The mobs come out right away, so be careful where you're fighting EDNA, but we end up going this way and fighting this pack. This pack has a guy that does this Void Outburst, does a lot of AoE damage. He's doing it right now. On like 4 to 5 weeks, this is going to be hella dangerous, and you're going to need to pop defensives, or your healer's going to have a cooldown ready, that kind of thing, because it does a lot of AoE pulsing damage, okay? That's that pack. We're going to get past it here. I think everybody ended up dying there for some reason. The next pack, we're going down the void side of the map, okay? There's kind of like a void side that goes to like a void boss, and then there's going to be a more like sort of fire dwarven machinist kind of wing that has a 2-target boss on that side. We're going to get to that in a minute as well. These trash packs, though, are pretty straightforward. There's stuff you need to kick that's really dangerous. There's lots of AoE damage going on. There's a puddle that comes down here. This crystal salvo will be very dangerous about that. And then the censoring gear, that is a very, very important kick. Make sure you kick that, because that's going to silence usually your healer. It'll silence anybody, but it often picks the healer or like a ranged caster. And if they're silenced, they can't do any damage. They can't do any healing. So make sure you get that censoring gear, and then watch out for the crystal salvo on the ground. That's about it. Kick the censoring gear. Yeah, I got silenced right there. Wasn't for very long, but it's more dangerous if it's on like a healer or something. Here we have another guy doing the Void Outburst thing again. Pulsing damage. Just use another cooldown. Very, very important. Keep everybody alive. Druid is incredibly durable, by the way. I feel like Feral Druid is just so durable. So much sustain with the extra regrowths and stuff that you're getting. I think with the Wild Stalker tree, it's even better. So this is, again, another reason why I'm not a huge fan of the Druid of the Claw tree. But it is what it is. Now we're going to clear this last set of trash. It's the same thing. It's censoring gears. It's pulsing damage. There's nothing new here. We're going to get to this boss. This is Skarmorak. He is like a big void kind of being, okay? I have to explain the fight to these guys. The guys I'm running with have never done this fight before. And what you want to do is that you want to kill the adds on this fight in a staggered motion. Again, similar to EDNA, where you're destroying the rocks in a staggered way. You want to kill these adds in a staggered amount of time. If you kill 3 of these adds back to back to back, it'll literally wipe your whole group. Even if you do 2 of them back to back, there's a small stacking debuff that you get, and if you keep killing more adds at the same time, that debuff stacks up and it does way too much damage, okay? Now, there's these shadowy orbs on the ground as well. There's one there and there's one there. Those shadowy orbs will give you a debuff for 30 seconds when you pick them up. They increase your healing done, and they increase your damage that you're going to deal to the boss's shield. Right now, the boss is channeling. This is a reason why you have to kill the adds. He's channeling, and he's starting to get a shield. If he has adds that are up when he does this channel, his shield gets even bigger than it otherwise would be. If there's no adds up when he does this channel, he'll just get a regular shield. But picking up these shadowy orbs and getting this debuff right here, this is going to make you do more damage to the shield, not to the boss. It is completely 100% pointless to pick up these shadow orbs when you're just dealing damage to the boss's health bar. They don't help you deal damage to his health bar, only to the shield. This is really important. Early on in the fight, the healer should pick up one of the shadow orbs right away, because as I said, it increases your healing done no matter what. So like right now, he's going to make some orbs here. Okay, boom, there we go. Ads are spawning. Orbs are going to spawn in a minute as well. The healer should go pick up an orb when they spawn right here. So right now, the healer should pick up one orb at least so that they can just ease themselves. They can just do way more healing. You do like 50 to 100% more healing. Right now, it's useless for DPS to pick up an orb because there's no shield to attack. So you might as well just leave the orbs for the healer to get. In fact, the healer should go get 2 orbs, in my opinion. Now, once he starts channeling in a second here, again, we've got to try and kill these ads. I don't think my group knew really to kill the ads. So I'm working on the ads myself, trying to do as much damage to them as I can. This is a bit of a futile effort here. I come over here to kill this one. Now he's channeling again, okay? And everybody should be picking up these orbs. The DPS now should be picking up these orbs, okay? It's time. The healer should also have one at this point. I think the healer should always have at least one. Now, our healer had 3 orbs, so I think his healing was being increased by 150%. So like in this phase, when there's big pulsing damage hitting everybody, he's going to be topping us, which is actually a good thing. But generally speaking, during the shield phase, every DPS should have 1 orb at least. And the healer should have one as well. Okay, that's the whole fight. Rinse and repeat. He spawns ads, you kill the ads, you pick up orbs, you DPS a shield, and that's it. You work your way down on the boss. That's the whole fight. Not too hard. Okay. Once you're done the fight, you can see I'm going to ping to this little minecart. This is the first boss where you're required to have a minecart. You see it spawns right there. I'm pinging. I'm like, guys, let's take the minecart. It'll take us back to the central chamber. It's very nice. You don't have to worry about running all the way back. Lovely. If you die at any point in this dungeon, you will have to run from the beginning of the dungeon to wherever you were. That is a huge problem. So you really don't want to die because the run back is annoying. It's not too far, but it's still annoying. But if you finish a boss, you do get to take a minecart right back. Now, we're going to go down the fire side of the dungeon, okay? This is the dwarven fire flame side. These guys have a couple of tank busters. Concussive Smash is a stacking tank buster. It does a lot of damage. You really have to help your tank out as a healer, I've noticed as I've been healing this dungeon. And of course, they have the Curse Void thing that still goes on different players. Curse Dispels are going to be a premium. And then we have these big juggernaut looking dudes over there. And they have a couple of moves. First of all, they're going to fire that big orange cannon that they've got. They will do a really big frontal cannon blast. Okay, and that's very dangerous. They'll also hit the tank for another tank buster. Poor tanks. There's the lava cannon right there. He kind of charges it up and then he blasts it away. If you're standing in that, it's going to do almost all your health. On a higher key level on Fortify Week, it will kill you. It's very dangerous. Then he puts a dot on individual people. So he put one on the healer. It's called Molten something. He just cast it there. He's going to cast it in a second here. That's very annoying. It does a lot of damage. Molten Mortar is what it's called. That's just an extra mob you got to deal with. Watch out for the frontal. Heal through the mortar. Watch out for the tank buster stuff. It's pretty standard. Lots of mobs in here. This is where you're going to pick up the bulk of the rest of your trash, okay? The most of your count, probably more than 50% of all of your count in the dungeon will come from this wing. Okay, there's a lot of trash in this wing, so lots of good opportunities for big AoE damage from, you know, from whatever spec you're playing. If you're doing DPS, it's your time to shine. Really good. We're pumping a little bit of damage there on the Feral Druid. But yeah, lots of AoE. These alloy boits going off are kind of annoying. This pulverizing pounce, they're just going to jump on range people. They can be CC'd, all that stuff. You got to watch out for the restoring metals. This is the big kick here. Kick restoring metals. That's going to, of course, heal these guys, and you don't want them to get healed. Okay, that's the big thing. Now, you're going into this next wing before you get to the boss, and there's 2 of these guys now. These guys are pretty nasty, well, especially for the tank when they're put together. They actually, the positioning of these guys used to be different. They've reversed it. But anyway, neither here nor there. The Blizzard really does want you to fight these guys. So watch out for the cannons. Watch out for the mortars. This guy got double mortared, which is kind of, this probably shouldn't be possible. I don't know. Double mortar is like really insane amounts of damage on one target. So very dangerous for the Warlock. And I think that realistically, the game should be coded in a way that you can't get one person double mortared, because it's just like on high keys, it's literally going to kill you. This is, again, where all your trash is going to come from. I'm telling the tank right now, hey, we're going to need this trash. Let's pull it, and then we have an opportunity to pump some big damage here. Not sure if I have Berserk. Oh, no, I don't have any of my cooldowns. This is without any cooldowns, by the way. Kind of crazy. Mage is pumping. We're pumping. Warlock's pumping. The tank's pumping. Again, I didn't have any cooldowns here, so my damage is a little bit lower. But that's okay. Final trash packs here before we get to the Forge Speakers. This is a really, really fun boss fight. This is a 2-target boss fight. You have 1 big cannon person and 1 machinist. Here's what happens on this fight. Basically, there's a priority kick that you need to get on the small speaker machinist guy. It's called Molten Metal. This must get kicked every time it goes off. It does a dot on all of your allies that is really detrimental to you because there's other damage coming in from this fight. And if you have this extra dot on top, you're completely screwed. I'm telling you right now. So it's difficult though, because at certain points in the fight, he will jump away right there. He's jumping away and he's going to push a box through the middle of the room. And that is very dangerous. You do not want to get hit by this box or you will die. The other problem is, as soon as he's done pushing that box, he's going to start channeling his ability way over here. Molten Metal. There it is. If you do not have a ranged person kicking it, or if you don't have somebody running over there kicking it, it's just going to go off. And here comes the buff. It's going to hit everybody. It's going to start dotting us and doing really bad ticking damage. The tank has 2 dots on him right now. Really, really detrimental, okay? Now, after this has happened, the boss is going to cast Exhaust Vents. 3 out of the 4 vents that are around the room, there's 1 here, they're all in the corners, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 that we can't see. 3 of those vents will go on fire. 1 of the vents will be a safe zone. You need to get to that safe zone, okay? That's what you need to do, because the other boss, the big tall mech guy, is about to pull the box through the middle of the room instead of pushing it. So here he goes. He's going to pull the box. If you're in the middle of the room, you're dead right now. If you're standing on the other flame jets, you're dead. Actually, I guess they kind of went off there. Anyway. And then if you're standing in like the T formation of this boss area, you're also dead because there's fire going this way and there's fire going this way. You need to be on the corner right here to avoid these huge puddles of fire. Okay? So that's the cadence of this fight. You need to kick Molten Metal. You need to stand basically on the vent that isn't on fire. And you need to dodge the huge flame that comes through. Do not get hit by the box or you're dead. And then guess what? The floor is also going to fill with fire. So once again, that boss just jumped off to push the box through the middle. We're going to go to a vent location over here. But now we're nowhere near the other boss. So guess what? That dot is going to come through. There it is. The dots hit everybody. Very, very dangerous. And somebody just died because they got hit by the lava beam thing. We're standing on a good vent right now, but it might not be good for long. There's Molten Metal. We want to kick that. There we go. Interrupted. Now we need to figure out where we're going. This guy's going to pull the box through the middle of the room. Now we're just in a really bad spot because we didn't pre-position. We didn't get to the vent ahead of time. So I was kind of in a tough spot there. Everybody ends up dying. That's how the boss fight goes. The last thing I want to say about this boss fight, these bosses must be killed at the same time. If they're not killed at the same time, whoever isn't killed gets super turbo juiced and they're going to do crazy damage. They're going to pulse AoE damage. It's a nightmare. It's really not good. So you must kill them at the same time or else it's literally game over for you. Okay. We'll see at the very end here. Let me just push through. I think we end up doing this one correctly here. This guy's got a little bit more health. I realized halfway through I needed to start like single targeting down. Oh no, we died again. Yeah, this is a tough boss fight. You're gonna struggle in this fight for sure. I'll just skip ahead here though. Hopefully we get him on this 3rd try. The speaker Dorlita, the big mech person, it's actually a girl, I think, has more health than the short dwarven speaker. So you need to do more damage to Dorlita so that their health bars are evened out by the end. If you don't do that, you're gonna have a nightmare on your hands. There, we end up killing them at the same time. So you'll get to the end of this fight, and I think we end up killing them basically right at the exact same time. But if you do not kill them at the same time, I promise you it's incredibly, incredibly dangerous, okay? Then you're going to run out and hit the minecart here. You're going to need to kill 1 more trash pack just for your percentage count. You're going to have to kill 1 more trash pack here. Then we're on to the final wing of this dungeon. This straightforward, straight down the middle. You're going to fight these guys. They are the honor guards. They have a little like dash mechanic. They charge. It's called Stampede. If you're standing in front of them, you're going to die. Okay, very simple. Don't stand in front of them. That would be a silly thing to do. Then we get introduced to these big rock guys. These big rock guys, they have a knockback ability that does AoE damage. They put circles on the ground. They're generally just very disruptive and annoying, and they do a lot of like one-shot abilities, or at least the AoE ground effect is basically a one-shot. So yeah, they're kind of annoying. They have a lot of health. On fortified, these guys are going to be hella annoying. Just let me say that right now. You're gonna have to fight them. The last and final mob that's like really important to think about is these mobs that create totems. It's these guys here. They create these earth totems right here. You can see one right there. If these totems go off, if they detonate, you're gonna take almost all your health and damage. Like, you need to have somebody targeting these totems and priority killing them as quickly as possible. You can crowd control these guys so that they don't spawn a totem, but like, they'll just start casting the totem right after they come out of their CC, so it doesn't really do that much. You honestly just have to deal with the totems when they spawn, okay? I would also recommend do not pull these last two trash packs together, because it will end up looking something like this. Earth burst totems are going to be going off all over the place. People are just going to start dying. You're going to get double smash rock. It's just not good. You're going to die. Everybody's going to die. So don't do that. Kill them one at a time. Pull the pack back from where they start. Like, just pull them out of the room back here. And then I'm also telling everybody, make sure you kill the totems. So that's it. Kill the earth burst totems, survive the damage, and then we're on to the final boss fight, okay? Which is Void Speaker Eirich. This boss is pretty cool. There's portals in this boss room. These portals are a place where you have to take a dot debuff that you're going to get given. I'm going to show you in a second. He does a big frontal here called Unbridled Void. You can see it's kind of hard to see, but it's a big shadow cone that he does there. Okay. And then he's going to put dots on you. If you go near these portals, they will start sucking you in. You can't stand near these portals. Once you get your debuff, though, my voice just cracked really hard. Once you get your dot, which is called Void Corruption, it's on everybody right now. When you walk near this portal, it gets rid of your dot debuff and gets rid of the portal. So that's the main mechanic. And then you're going to put puddles on the ground. You're going to have to try and space these puddles out so that you're not covering the entire room. Random portals will spawn all around the room for you to take your dot debuff and drop it off there. If you do not get rid of your dot debuff, it will start stacking one on top of the other and you'll just die. It does way too much damage. It's really, really dangerous. So take your Void Corruption and take it to a portal. That's the main thing on this fight. And then try to space out your puddles on the ground so that you're not doing, you're not filling the entire room up with bad puddles. So you can actually kind of move somewhere, right? I'm not doing a very good job of that right now, but on a higher key, on like Tyrannical Week, this is going to be a real problem. The room is going to start to fill up. So it's a fun fight. It's a good fight. It's not a difficult fight. Of all the boss fights in this dungeon, it is the easiest one, I would say, by far. Okay? So that's it. You kill this boss and you're done. That's the whole dungeon. I'm going to jump back to live for a second, but that's it there. Okay? We got our +4 done. Let me just talk about it in a summary here. Number one, this is a really fun dungeon. The boss fights are really difficult, except I would say for the final boss fight. When you go down to a boss wing and you kill the boss, you can take a minecart back to the central chamber, which saves you a lot of time, which is really, really good. The second wing that I took you down has most of the trash in this dungeon. About 50% or more of the trash is down here by the master machinists. And yeah, this is going to be a really tough dungeon on Tyrannical Week, I would say, for sure. It's just a hard dungeon in general. I do hope they kind of tune it down a little bit because it's just a little bit difficult. But thematically, I love this dungeon. It's one of my favorite places to be. I really do enjoy it a lot, and I think you're going to enjoy it too. So that is the Stonevault in a nutshell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm going to keep talking about all the different dungeons that are coming to you in the first season of The War Within. So stay tuned for more. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.